Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for December the 20th. Getting close to that winter solstice and the Mayan calendar end and ready to start a new age. And just had my 6-year-old, well, now she's 6 years old, Grace, wanted to thank everyone for the nice, kind wishes on Stock Twits and Twitter. So she was very excited today. Had a great recital. And, you know, we were singing all of our wonderful Christmas songs leading up to all this because we've been doing very nicely. And then we got our unfortunate red dot short signal here, which had us wanting to be a little more defensive, unfortunately, and the market pretty much did what we expected, responded a little bit, didn't quite get all the way to the full target, but a good portion of it. So in line with our expectations, nothing too shocking with that. Do I see anything that's really overridingly concerned right now that, you know, says that you should be concerned about everything? No, we saw that we had just gotten a little overdone with this positive extreme, and that happens. And so, just like this little, do we see that potentially we could break down? No, we're not seeing the same kind of readings. Now, could this continue to pop up on a further decline and then give us another ratio size short signal like we had before? It's possible, but no reason to jump the shark just yet. I know that's a Happy Days reference for those old enough to even know what that means. And here we have the support and resistance. Obviously, we broke past where there was no real resistances, and so there was nothing on the way back down, and literally dropped all the way back to it. Nothing too shocking. Now, we were outside of the Bollinger Band. That can happen for 3 to 5 days maximum before you come back in, and we did come back in. We get this gray dot flip. And so what does that say? Well, it suggests that you should retest the low. Well, we already finished at the low, so there isn't any more for it to go. Now, it can still move the overall ATR lower, but for the most part, the gray dot, we're just looking for the low to be retraced. And a lot of times what will happen is you move all the way back midway or halfway in there. And that's when we would expect those to retrace. So this doesn't really give us anything in particular strength. What we do want to move is down to our up-down power, and we see that we have 176, and I'll pop it in my calculator right here, divided by 337 for those that want to do the math with me. And that gives you 52%. Well, at 0.52, we're not at the 0.7 yet, which would indicate that we would be concerned about shorts being overweighted into the setup, looking for a bigger decline. So pretty neutral, and that's just kind of fitting little tug of war. We expect a little bit more of the retrace back down to the low, but that's about the extent of it at this particular time. We'd have to see at that point, do we have any additional signal, and go from there. We still have the same upside downside targets. It's still a long way down. I'm surprised the computer doesn't have something higher, but it's giving 1409, so that's kind of extreme. And that's a little bit beyond where our positive extreme for the SSO right here would take us down to about 6030. And boy, we did a nice job with following with the ABM. I said that if we opened up above the day, we would want to look after the first hour and start trailing it higher. I got out at about 61.91, and we go ahead and take a look at our SSO trade. So that's where the numbers closed were. It was nice. On our simple 300 shares, we didn't do anything extravagant, nothing crazy, and very nice. Will we get over that 50,000 mark, which would be, 10,000 over? Yeah, we'll see. Close. That was a 4% gain from just that simple move, so that was pretty nice. And then you can see here, yes, we do have a yes signal on selling an option. So those of you that do and can, we want to sell 3 of the 60 puts for about 23 cents. That would be all the way down here. We've already dipped below the red line, so we've already moved into a semi-oversold so far, and you can see that we've reset all the way to the bottom of our checkout indicator. So, and the fact that the ratio expanded histogram here is still above the cyan means that the uptrend is still intact, even though we've turned red as far as trend goes. Could be the extent of it. So why not take advantage of it? That puts us far enough away that if we do get that follow through all the way to the full target for the red dot, we're still fine. And for the next couple of days, we can collect a little bit of premium. If we're up higher, we may even look to next week's while we still have this week's going. So not afraid to continue to jump back in it. So far, we're doing all the right things. USO, this one's also looking good. Let's go ahead and go to the website. And here, if you didn't want to go to the member homepage, you can always just go to portfolio positions, because that's where it's at, and that should pop up a new window. Why is it taking so long? Ta-da, there it goes. USO, right there. We click that one, and it takes us right to our USO trade. And in this particular case, we had sold the 32s for just 39 cents, almost the full 40 cents. And a little bit upside down, but you can see that we've just about gotten overbought now, -4, so we're up at that upper threshold. So we're fine if we get those called away. We still leaves us with a few shares remaining, but overall, perfect call off of the catfish as well as the orange dot. So nice trade there. I know there was a lot of concern that some thought it was going to break down further, but we jumped on that one and weren't afraid of it, even right around that 32 when we were originally selling puts and stuff. So that's fine. Loved it. CLF finally put in a little bit of weakness, but again, it keeps just popping up. Hasn't even retraced this positive extreme or this one, so there could be some potential down move to that one overall. I think we're fine with our CLF setup. Let's go back and take a look at CLF, just like so. And you can see we sold, of our 600, half of them, 34 calls for 90 cents. So this is just under 35, and with it just over 35 with a couple of days, we should be okay. Maybe we keep it, maybe we don't. Either way, we're doing well. So no objection to that trade at all. And you can see right here from a daily standpoint, -1. So it's gotten up there, and now you've moved 5 periods past your red trend. So when you start to see positive extremes after that, you've kind of made a serious move. What's surprising to me is that we haven't moved back over from the orange line, which suggests that we may fall off. And in that case, I'd be fine, because we'll go ahead and trade it for next year as well. No objection to that whatsoever. X holding on nicely. If we go up here, we'll click our X link, and we went ahead and sold what we had left of our 200 shares for the 24 strike, 55 cents. We're still okay with that. We're not going to buy them back, so if it gets called away above 24, we're going to let them go. So we'll be zeroed out on that one way or another, and if it dips below the 24, we'll still keep the shares, and we will sell a call again. Because we got overbought, and we still the potential for the retrace all the way down to that 2250 range is real, so we're not going to get crazy, and we're plus 17, so we're just over the warning line. There's potential this one could rise up to the 25, but we'll watch the shakeout and see. We're looking at dip down power. Let me go ahead and do those numbers real quick while I've got you here. 146 divided by the 239, and that's at about 61%, so it's pretty close to having capped out where shorts might want to make a little bit more serious run to the downside. Now WLT, we want to make a trade on WLT, and you're thinking, what? WLT? Why do we want to do that? Well, let's take a look at what we're planning on doing here. And pretty straightforward. We're going to be looking to sell the 35 puts for about 44 cents with just a couple of days left. And that's about 50 cents out of the money right now. And the reason being, we got an orange dot. So even if we get a little bit of a retrace down to the 35 or whatever, that's just equivalently buying at a discount within our green trend. So why wouldn't we want to do that? Particularly, we haven't gotten the full retrace at the positive extreme, and even if we did, we would just be adding more, and we're just looking for a small position there. So why not? Moving into the holiday week, perfectly fine to still be looking for gains. Here was the red dot short as well after hitting our positive upside from the orange dot. We get the red dot short and pretty much retraced almost immediately, and still has a little more to go. Let's see, from a future standpoint, that low is 14.25 and a quarter, so that's another 4 points from here. It's possible it could do it intraday, we don't know. I did mention I would show Facebook. Some people have been asking about it, more than a few requests, and it's been excellent from the dots for the buy signals, ABM able to follow it, but then even in this extended move, still been getting orange dot signals. Had this one gray dot looking for that low to retrace, and then boom, another orange dot just the other day. So looking good, but now I go down to my up down power to get a little bit better read, since we were well above the 25 level, dipped below it, and now price is kind of flattened out even though we've moved lower. It's actually fine that we've dipped down on the shakeout, because now you've got more room to move right back up to it. And so what I look for is the blue over the yellow as an indication that we're in the right buy up cycle, and it still is. So even with the downdraft, and even if there's a little bit more, it's still overall attractive here on Facebook. We'll go to 78-minute of it. You can see that had some short signals that came in when we were positive on the extremes in that. We put those out when they were there. Then we get more bifractals right down here on the dip. And sure enough, even if you'd followed the shakeout, you could have just looked for the first improvement in the shakeout. And I love to watch the yellow line go below the blue, because that gives me the clue that we've had that real oversold. And then boom, it popped up, exploded off of that signal. So very nice. And some people prefer having the extreme on a separate window. If you don't, you just go to Format and go to 1. And in this case, we want no axis because we don't want it to interfere with price. And you just click OK. And then 2, on the subgraphs, sometimes you'll want higher or lower to show more above and below price. Those get into some of the details of TradeStation you can play with. So there it is. And it moved the ellipse with it. You just right click that. I'm going to move it. Little drawing techniques there. But that's the way I normally like to put it on price, because you can see that even on this little dip right here, it's already dipped below the red line and back above it. Now, if you get any further retrace, it becomes even more attractive from a buy, particularly if it's on a higher extreme histogram. So lots of different things to be able to play with current market setup. So it's not anything to be terrified of at this particular point. Do we know anything with regard to fiscal cliff? I was at my daughter's recital, and I had some people ask me, no idea what's going to happen with that. All we can do is look at, and what we saw here was we had plenty of buyers from our bifractal. They hit their target, and when they hit their target, we also ended up with a short signal. So you had both the sellers from the up target of the bifractal, as well as new shorts popping into the setup. When you get that kind of confluence of everybody doing the same thing at the same direction, you get these kind of moves. So in this particular case, it's in line with our expectations. So just continue. We did a live feed. That's what I was going to show you here. Let me pop it up. You can always go to this, shrink it down here, I can show you. It's just tradethembi.com and then a /livestream.html. And this is our web page, and this was what we did, and it had the live chat. So everyone was able to see the screen, and I think you could even click to expand it. So it had options for that. And then people were asking different questions about various stocks, was going over some things. So we'll do that periodically. It would be nice to offer that. Now, if you missed it, beautiful thing is you click the video tab there, and you can resume it. It's in the library, so it's always there. And we just went through a lot of unique setups that take place both from intraday, the dots, a lot of little nuanced stuff, because sometimes you get these special situations and it's not possible for me to describe them in the 140 characters on StockTwits or something like that, and it's better to get an idea. And then if you have a specific question, because to me it's familiar, so I'm used to seeing a lot of these setups, and it's not always going to be the case for you. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the depth of it, these are opportunities to ask questions, and feel free to email me, because I'm always looking for ways to better get across to you some of the complex nature of what these indicators are trying to suggest, and I make it as easy as I can with some of the dots and what they mean, but there's always more information. I can always do better, so feel free to let me know if there are things that you need from me to give you a better clue as to how to see the market and some of the unique things that it's doing. As always, though, look for me on StockTwits Twitter, and trade well.